Are you tired of only getting 1 to 2 likes on each of your posts on social? So we just finished our live for the launch of the carousels feature, and one of the questions that we got during it was one of our members had kind of given up on socials on one of his businesses because he had been doing posts for a little while and he was getting 1 or 2 likes for each of his social posts and not really that much inquiry, and he was feeling like it wasn't a good channel for him to be spending time on. So I want to talk a little bit about that for a minute here. Just because you're not getting a huge amount of engagement now doesn't mean that there isn't value in putting out posts for your target audience that deliver value. Because what you're doing is building up a portfolio on your platform of who you are, what you're about, and you're building a backlog of bingeable content. Because let's say that you do a bunch of posts and 1 in 100 or even 1 in 1,000 goes somewhat viral and gets that thousands or hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of views. If that happens, and that's the only post that you've done, which it's ridiculous that the first post that you do would do that, but let's say that that happens, and you don't have a big backlog of posts, somebody will click into your profile, and they might not see a lot of posts that'll resonate with them, and they might not follow you, and they might not want to engage with you. If you've done 100 posts that talk specifically about how to plan your holiday at Disney, when that one post does do really well, all those old posts that didn't get a ton of views will suddenly start getting shown to the audience that that post did really well for, and it'll show up in their feeds all over, and it'll show up to them when they go and look at your profile, and then they'll want to follow you. And that somewhat comes down to building channels and audiences that target the right niches, which we'll talk about. We talked about that a whole bunch today. We ran for like 3 hours, but I think I'll do a separate video talking about how to do that. But the crux of it is, just because you're not seeing a lot of engagement on the content you're putting out now doesn't mean it's not worth putting it out, guys. Because if you're putting it out, then when something does hit, you'll have a backlog of material for that audience to get sent to. And then they will turn into followers, and they will get to that magic 7 interactions, which is roughly how many it takes, they've found in studies, before people are willing to do business with your business. If they've seen you 7 times and they liked what they saw, then they'll be much more willing to work with you. And when they call you to actually work with you, you'll have a lot less work to do getting them to the point where they're ready to buy. And that's something we've found in our business is a lot of the people who walk in say they've seen us on socials forever. And then they walk in and they go, I want you to handle this holiday. I already know everything that I want. I've already seen how you handle holidays. I just want you to handle it. And that's a much easier pitch than somebody walking in going, I'm thinking about booking travel. Tell me why I should go with you. All right, so that's why you want that content backlog, because that is the start. And, well, that's one reason why. The other reason why is if you're just starting out with social, or if your business is new on platform, the algorithm doesn't yet know who to show your content to. So you're going to see that 1 to 2 likes and that lower engagement. And as it starts to figure out who to show that content to, when you make those 1 or 2 pieces of content that do really, really outsized well, which again, the more content you do, the higher chance that one of your pieces of content is going to hit. When you do hit that piece of content that does really well, then the algorithm will be able to show your other content to the people that it's done really well with. But if you don't have other pieces of content, it won't be able to do that, and you lose that flywheel effect. So having a backlog is really important, and it's worth building one for that reason and for a whole bunch of others. Let me give you another reason. Why not, while we're sitting here? As you're building your backlog, you learn what you like and what you don't like in what you're putting out, and you learn what resonates and feels like it's your business and what doesn't. So if you're waiting and you're trying to build that one perfect piece of content every time you're posting, A, it'll take forever, and no one's got time for that. But B, that turnaround cycle of you figuring out what sort of posts you want to make, and EMS AI actually learns from you every time you make content now. So the life cycle for EMS to learn what sort of posts you like to make gets a lot longer. But if you can get to that magical 100 pieces of content in a month or 2, you're going to start seeing results much more quickly too. So all of this is to say, it got a little long-winded, but all of this is to say, if your content isn't getting the engagement you want now, it doesn't mean you should stop making content. It means you should be continuing to make content and treating the stuff that you're making as a library for people who encounter your business to see who you are and what you're about. All right, that's my other tip for the day, guys. Thanks for watching.